Ever watched a homeowner's arrogance backfire spectacularly? I used to work for the county government in the permitting department. My specialty was drainage and floodplain enforcement. It wasn't glamorous, but I took pride in making sure the rules were followed. One day, I got a complaint from a homeowner, let's call him Daniel, who lived in the unincorporated part of the county. He was polite but frustrated. His neighbor, Rick, lived in an incorporated village, and recently, Rick had brought in a bunch of fill dirt, raising his yard. Now, whenever it rained more than a drizzle, Daniel's property would flood. Daniel also mentioned something else. He and his partner were a gay couple, and he suspected Rick's hostility toward them might not just be about property lines. I made a mental note. I drove out to investigate. The difference in yard height was obvious. Rick's fill was blocking natural drainage. The kicker? The village's own permitting agent had approved it. I called him, let's call him Carl, and explained the issue. His response? The village could do whatever it pleased and I couldn't stop it. Then, he tossed in a sneering comment about those types of people making trouble. That was the moment I decided this was no longer a routine inspection. I went back to Daniel and told him plainly, I wasn't letting this slide. I began taking elevation readings, measuring the fill, documenting every angle with photos. That's when Rick stormed out, angry that I was on his property line. He loudly told me I had no jurisdiction. I calmly pulled out my radio and called dispatch, requesting both village and county police to the scene. When the officers arrived, I explained that part of Rick's yard fell within a regulatory floodplain, which gave me full jurisdiction. Both officers backed me up. Rick wasn't happy. Then Carl arrived. He immediately started in, accusing me of harassment, threatening to call my boss, and generally making a scene. I told him to go ahead and even quoted the exact sections of code he might want to reference. While marking the floodplain boundary with bright orange chalk for my file photos, I accidentally got some on his shoe. He was livid. Rick wasn't any calmer, especially seeing orange lines cutting across his lawn. My investigation turned up two major violations. Rick had placed fill in the floodplain and built a shed on it. Both are against federal law. My written order gave him two choices: remove the fill and shed, or apply for a floodplain revision with the Army Corps of Engineers. I also told Daniel he could place fill on his side, outside the floodplain, to counteract the problem, and even suggested installing a drain tile to handle ponding water. Rick and Carl absolutely lost it when the violation notice landed in their mailbox. We ended up in a meeting at the county office with my supervisor present. Within minutes, voices were raised, accusations flying. Our department head stepped in, told them flat out they were wrong, and ordered them to comply, or face fines. The best part? Rick had to apply for a permit to fix his violations. Guess who got to review it? That's right, me. Daniel's permit was approved almost immediately. Rick's, well, let's just say I was meticulous. Every number, every diagram, every signature had to be perfect. 3 times he submitted it, and 3 times I sent it back with corrections. Had he come to the office politely, I'd have guided him through like I do for everyone, but he wanted to be difficult, so I let him be difficult. On paper, it took months, but eventually, Rick got his permit and had to undo the damage. Daniel's property stopped flooding. Rick's shed was gone. And Carl? He learned to think twice before throwing his weight around.